I've been working and reworking this effect for over a year now, and finally solved the original problem that I was having with this particular method of creating this cartoon effect. What I was going for was something that would be relatively simple to use. It doesn't really require any technical Photoshop intensive background like my original versions did, and I think I finally found the combination of things to put together to make this a worthwhile effect. One of the criteria that this particular effect had to meet was it had to be generally useful at first drop. So as soon as you drop this on a clip, you should get a very nice cartoon effect without having to make any adjustments at all. And if you do have to make adjustments, then you should start off by making small adjustments with these parameters to find out exactly what they do and how they affect the image. And then as you get more and more familiar with this, you can go all out. So let me go over just basically some of the details of this. The first parameter is mix effect, which means you can start off with your video being normal and just drop into a cartoon-like effect, and then the reverse is also true. You can go from the cartoon effect and back into normal video. You have a threshold parameter. Usually you probably want to keep it near 0. But as you can see, you can thin out a lot of the detail by increasing the threshold, the value. Smoothness is the smoothness of the lines that are drawn. There are several levels of smoothing in this effect, and the first one is the lines. So as you go towards 0, this gets noisier and noisier, and as you go away, the lines get simpler. Where it is placed at the beginning is a very good starting point, and so don't wander too far from it at the beginning. Media smoothing has 3 controls. The overall smoothing, which will help get rid of some artifacts that can show up. You know, the blocky JPEG artifacts that you get, sometimes they'll show up. So in a lot of high quality video, you can probably get away with just turning it off altogether. But if you've got compressed video that's got a lot of artifacts, then you will probably want to use some media smoothing. This value controls the amount of the next 2. You can control this smoothing effect in a horizontal and or vertical. So if you need to concentrate on having vertical lines present, you can turn off horizontal and just use vertical smoothing. You see what I'm doing here? And vice versa. If you need to have horizontal lines show up or take predominance, you can smooth out vertical noise. Gamma is going to lighten or darken the scene. Posterized levels, you've got a bunch of them. Sometimes you're going to have to crank this all the way up just to get rid of some of the artifact noise that might show up in poor compressed films. It's not a big deal, but generally you get some really good effects if you keep this around, I don't know, 5 to 8. You can push the limits here. The lowest you can go is 2. And I'll just reset this. You can change how the cartooning is drawn. If you want to make this look more pencil-y, you can use a gray scale here, or if you need a color ink, dark reds make it kind of sepia looking. So you can experiment with this. There are various things you can do with this. Normally you just want to leave it at black, but it's in there for an option. You have a halftone here. This is the difference between cartoon and comic book. And normally it's going to be with the overlay mode, how the effect is added back into the effect with the add blend mode is default. There's also color dodge, overlay, which looks really nice. Soft light. In this particular scene you can't see the difference, but all of these will have very subtle differences that can make this a little bit more pleasing effect. The angle is at 45. That's the Apple standard. I personally like something along the lines of 60 or 72. And you can scale the halftoning. And I left this in here because this is actually kind of interesting. If you keyframe this to very large, start at 100, and very quickly set it down to what the final scaling is going to be. So you just get this, everything turning into a cartoon or comic book kind of illustration effect happening, and you can turn up the contrast for that to make it even more obvious. Or if you want to be able to use the overlays used for the halftoning without the halftone, you can turn it off with the halftone mix. Just shut that down to 0. Let me see if I can actually make this obvious. So this is the without the halftone layer here. This is a comic effect, and with the halftone layer, this is a comic book effect. But if you turn off the halftone, you can add another level of cartoon refinement by using the halftone layer and turning off the halftone with the halftone mix. So this is about as simple as I can make this effect. I'm very pleased to be able to offer this to you. I think this does a very good job in about 98% of the time. There's going to be a few clips you're going to run across that's going to give you a little problem. They're generally very low contrast and not a lot of detail to begin with. Definitely add the halftone layer and try to boost levels and things like that. But for the most part, I think this is a very good general use cartoon effect. I hope you find it amusing, and I hope you enjoy using it, and I will catch you on the next one.